Good afternoon. My name is Chaplain Khallid Shabazz. I am one of four Islamic chaplains in the United States Army. I am what you're called an imam. An imam in Arabic is a leader of prayer, similar to a pastor, similar to a rabbi. We are the persons who get out front and give instruction to the congregation on whatever the daily message is. Now, we're going to go over a couple of things today. What is Islam? How does it compare to Christianity? What are the similarities and what are the differences? This lecture is going to be about, hopefully about 15 minutes. And we're going to try to get into kind of a deep dive on what Islam is. Okay, so Islam has five pillars of faith. One is the absolute belief in one God with no partners, no helpers. God stands alone. He is sovereign. There's a verse in the Quran that says, there's no God but He, and there is none like Him. He neither begets nor is He begotten, and no one is comparable to Him. Now, in Islam, as different from most religions, we don't believe that God existed in human form. He is a entity that created all life, and He is not subjected to that life. So that's the first pillar of faith. The second pillar of faith is prayer. As many people probably know, Muslims pray 5 times a day. The reason for praying 5 times a day is there's constant remembrance of God. The prayer is really about anywhere from about 5 to 7 minutes. We pray using verses from the Quran to kind of remember what God is saying and what He is impressing upon our hearts every day. There's a verse in the Quran that says that the remembrance of God is even greater than prayer. From our standpoint, what is the purpose of praying if you can't remember what God says? So the Islamic tradition, we use verses from the Quran in our prayers. Now, we do have what we call du'as. Du'as in Arabic means supplementary prayers that we say on our own, but in congregation, all of our prayers, we use parts of the Quran. And I'll give you an example. It's in a rhythmic tone that we use, kind of a singing tone. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Now, in translation, this says, with the name of the beneficent, the merciful Redeemer, we give praise and we give honor to you, the master of the day of judgment. Thee alone do we serve, and thee alone do we ask for help. Please guide us on the right path of those whom you have shown favor, and not those who have went astray. Okay, so that is the beginning of prayer. Our third pillar of faith is charity. Charity is a mandate upon every Muslim. The Quran says that the destitute and the beggar have a known right over your money. And what that means is God gives us an opportunity to work. Most of us are healthy people. We can go out and earn a living. And those people who are less fortunate than us, it is mandatory that we give charity to them because they are also human beings, God's creatures that we are also mandated to take care of. So there's another verse in the Quran that says Have you seen the man that denies his religion? And that is a man that he treats the orphan bad, and he does not give to the poor, but he prays to be seen by men. So in Islam in particular, prayer, while it's important, it should be linked to community. It should be linked to helping people. It should be linked to charity. Okay, so that's the third pillar that we go by. Okay, the next pillar is what we call Ramadan. Ramadan is a yearly fast that encompasses 30 days, no food, no water during the daylight hours. This is probably about 16 to 18 hours, no food, no water. Now, this is very difficult, as you can imagine. However, it gives you a sense of what hungry people feel like, what homeless people feel like, and it gives you a greater kind of affinity to help those people who are less fortunate than you. After about a week, honestly, it feels like you're back to nature. I mean, honestly, food, its flavor comes back. It tastes quite different, because now most of the time we just kind of eat because we're bored. But during Ramadan, you can only eat after the sun goes down. And I tell you, it's a time where families get together. It's a time where we actually enjoy getting together as a family and using that time to kind of honor God and remember Him the way He should be remembered. Lastly, the fifth pillar is Hajj, or the pilgrimage that most of you probably see on TV, where Muslims from across the globe, whether white, black, Arab, Chinese, African, whoever they may be, come to Mecca to ask for forgiveness, to submit themselves to God, and honestly, it is a picture of the day of judgment where all races and all people will come to one center and be one center or one place to be judged by God. It is incumbent upon every Muslim once in a lifetime to go to Mecca to fulfill this obligation. If you cannot go, then you are to send money, send another person who is physically able to go. So that's a synopsis of really the 5 pillars of Islam. Now, the similarities between Islam and Christianity are great. I myself was a Lutheran pastor, and I converted to Islam probably about 17 years ago. And people would be surprised the similarities that we have with Christians. There's a verse in the Quran that says there are people who are devout in learning, and when they see the revelations, their eyes roll up with tears. Those people are called Christians, or in Arabic they're called an-Nasara, or friends of God. Contrary to popular belief, in the Quran, the Christians are said they are nearer to us in faith than any other religion because of Jesus Christ. Because the Muslims believe that Jesus was born of a virgin. But we believe that in the Quran, Jesus performed more miracles than any other prophet, even our beloved Prophet Muhammad. His only miracle was receiving the Quran, but Jesus raised the dead. He performed more miracles than any other prophet in the Bible. So we have a very close relationship with Jesus Christ. We, as Muslims, just don't believe that He is God. We believe that God sent Him to be a mercy and a salvation to mankind. Okay, lastly, I'm about at the 10-minute mark. Another similarity we have to Christianity is charity. Christians give a 10% tithe to ensure different aspects of their religion is met. Muslims give a 2.5% yearly tithe to ensure that our needs are met, to give to the poor, to give to whatever for the upliftment and the fulfillment of necessities for mankind. Prayer. Daniel in the Bible prayed 3 times a day. In Islam, we pray 5 times a day. Prayer is very important in both religions. The Quran says in chapter 2 and verse 62, contrary to popular belief, he says, those people who call themselves Christians, those people who call themselves Jews, if they believe in God and the last day, no fear should they have, and nor should they grieve. So again, the Muslims have a very close relationship with Christians. It's just this modern day phenomenon where people are getting so individual and exclusive, where Christians and Muslims are fighting. Lastly, there's a verse in the Quran, chapter 29:51, where these people who called themselves Muslims came upon these other people who called themselves Christians, and the Christians asked the Muslims, they said, do you believe in God? Do you believe in charity? Do you believe in good fairness and justice among people? The Muslims said, well, of course we do. And the Christians said that we were Muslims before you, because Muslim in the Arabic language only means those people who submit themselves to God. In Christianity, it also means to submit yourself to God, the one God. Now, lastly, I am a convert. I studied Arabic in Jordan, and it's very interesting to know. I used to visit the churches very frequently over there because my mother made me make a promise that I wouldn't give up on my childhood faith. So I used to visit the churches in Jordan. Very interesting. When I used to go to church, in Arabic, you used to hear Allahu Akbar, God is the greatest. These were from Christians, because Allahu Akbar, God is the greatest, is only an Arabic term. In English, it means God is greater than anything else. When you walk in the church, the Christians used to say Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be upon you. You know, the same words that Jesus Christ used at the Last Supper. When the disciples came in, he said, peace be upon you. So there are many similarities. I challenge you to study. I challenge you to look at your faith, to find commonalities with people of other faiths, especially Islamic faith, because there's a lot of misunderstanding. I hope this video has helped you. If you have any questions, please reach out. Thank you.